We're on our way to do. I'm traveling this week to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. We've just arrived at the airport and now we're taking the ferry over to Camp Justice. There is so much secrecy around this entire base. There are a lot of things that we would like to show you, but they're off limits. They're restricted for national security reasons. And the thing I can tell you is that so many Americans don't even realize that the detention camps are still open. The military trials have still not concluded, and I just thought it was time to check it again for Americans to really see what was happening there. As the Trump administration begins its first 100 days in office, we are at Guantanamo Bay and we'll be reporting from here at Camp Justice. We'll be inside the courtrooms. We'll have updates on the status of the military trials as well as the detention camps. This new administration is going to have to make some hard choices about the future of this operation. We're wrapping up a week of on-the-ground reporting here at Guantanamo Bay, and we're taking the ferry to the airport on the opposite side of the base. What we found is that hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars are spent every year on the detainee detention operations and the military trials. All of this started with the Bush administration, but multiple administrations, Republican and Democrat, have failed to close these operations.
Today I'm also...
Before we get into him, the boss, that was Catherine Herridge. Those of you may recognize her. She used to be with Fox, then she went to CBS, and then she became her own new media. And I noticed a couple people in the chat were saying, hey, there's feedback. There's something there. Excuse me. That wasn't feedback. That was signal scrambling. She was trying to record something, and there was something, wherever she was at that part near Gitmo, something was being scrambled. It was a very vague, 4 or 5 videos that she put out and just kind of took glances at Gitmo, and nobody really understood why she was there. What was it that she was... There's been no follow-up. There's no further story on it. I checked her Twitter handle as of like an hour ago. There's nothing new there. So what was Catherine Herridge doing at Gitmo? And what was she doing there? And who was she doing it for? Because she just dropped just a 4 or 5 video series talking about how Gitmo's been under construction, it's getting bigger, and it's secret, and I can't even show you much of it. And I just thought it was interesting, and I just filed it away. Okay, she's working on something. And then we heard this.
Signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately, right? And tough. That's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just it's just an unforced error that we even have to be doing this. Now we need Congress to provide full funding for the complete and total restoration of our sovereign borders, as well as financial support to remove record numbers of illegal.
Well, before he left.
So let's talk about this for a second, because I did some digging, as I normally do. And in addition to the 30,000 ICE beds at Gitmo, which nobody really knew they were there, this popped up today. There's 30,000 beds reserved basically for immigration. And now, all of a sudden, how did nobody know this? There are 2,000 more beds in California. So I don't know how this has been taking place, especially since the guy's been 8 days? 8 days. So was there communication going on since the inauguration, since the election? Were there some people who really wanted to see things happen in the military? I don't know. But this morning, we covered the hearing of RFK Jr., which was a complete debacle. And I said Trump is keeping these people on their heels. They can't even resuscitate themselves. They can't even recover before he hits them with something else. So he mentioned, yeah, I'm going to do an executive order. I'm going to do an executive order and send these people to Gitmo. Well, since he mentioned it, let's go ahead and take a look at it. He has, by the way, like 5 of them. We've got like 5 things to go over at this point. And here's the first one. Let me just pull this over. Okay. It says expanding migrant operations center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay and notice this is in the title, to full capacity, which means if you know there's 30,000 beds down there, he's looking to ship 30,000 people down there. The worst of the worst, he's planning on shipping down to Guantanamo. I don't know why my dog's barking, but it's a pretty detailed thing here. It says expanding migrant operations. Expanding migrant operations center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay to full capacity. I hereby direct the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, to take all appropriate actions to expand the Migrant Operations Center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay. I just want to stop there for one second. And I want you guys to just focus on that. Did anybody know that there was a Migrant Operations Center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay? In fact, he said, because most of you guys probably don't know it. No, we don't know it. Where'd it come from? Who's been using it? Why wasn't Biden using it? I want them to take all appropriate actions to make it full capacity to provide additional detention space for high priority criminal aliens unlawfully present in the United States and to address attendant immigration enforcement needs identified by the Department of Defense and Department of Homeland Security. So what it sounds like, I think I can read, you guys have just read along. What it sounds like to me is he said, hey, Pete, Kristi, it's all yours. Do what you need to do. Under your direction, do what you need to do. This memorandum is issued in order to halt the border invasion, dismantle criminal cartels, interesting, and restore national sovereignty. This memorandum is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantial or procedural, enforcement at law, or equity, blah, 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 disclaimers, disclaimer, disclaimer. But this is also important. Dismantle criminal cartels. Department of Defense. Homeland Security. You see what's coming? He spells it out right there. This is going to be the place where they're going to put the worst of the worst. Who are the worst of the worst? The cartels. You're going to see probably within the next couple of days. Remember, they took some shots at the border agents. We may be getting ready to see a military action into Mexico or around Mexico to, as he says here, look at the word, dismantle the criminal cartels. Just so you know, Guantanamo is not dismantling anybody. Guantanamo is a holding facility. But it's a holding facility now that's going to be coordinated by the Department of Defense and Department of Homeland Security. Pete, and Christie. And if they plan on bringing 30,000 of the worst there, well, it's going to be, the Tres Leches. That'll be some of them. But they're not even the worst of the worst. MS-13 or the cartels themselves. In fact, as far as we know, because we wouldn't, there may already be operations underway. Nobody's going to report to the media. They're not going to call me. They're not going to call you. Hey, yeah, listen, we're in these tunnels and we're trying to catch as many of these bad guys as possible. And we're in here and we're smoking them out. No, you're not going to hear that. In fact, you may not hear it at all. Just want you to think about that. They're not bringing them here where the cameras can, take pictures of everybody. This is a secret operation. You don't get to do what Catherine Herridge just did unless you got, specific invitation and permission. And even then, she had scrambled audio and she could only take pictures in certain areas. Notice she didn't really take anything. Hey, here's the water in Cuba. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, here's a sign that says Camp Justice. I'm in Guantanamo Bay. I can't show you anything else. So what you just got a peek at, in my estimation, I could be completely wrong. Some of you guys may be in military, can tell me otherwise. But what I think we are seeing and what may possibly be underway is a covert operation to, quote, not my words, I didn't say it, to dismantle the criminal cartels. Those of you who are in the Army or have served, there's only one way to dismantle the cartels. You're not going to dismantle the cartels from Fort Bragg. You're not going to dismantle the cartels from afar looking in. It's impossible. You're not even going to be on our side of the wall. You can't dismantle the cartel on our side of the wall. You have to go in. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you think you can break up an enemy cartel as entrenched as these cartels in Mexico are without having boots on the ground on that side. And then when you do catch these guys, whisk them away to Guantanamo. When they get to Gitmo, no one's ever going to see you. No one's ever going to know you're there. You can bet Pete Hegseth has put the best of our guys over there. There's no cameras. You're not walking around Gitmo with a cell phone. Ain't happening. You are literally going into the dungeon of America. No one will ever hear from you again unless they want people to hear from you. Let that sink in. Barry, you're crazy. That couldn't happen. I'm just reading. I'm reading the words that this man has put out here that you can clearly see. This memorandum is issued in order to, quote, halt the border invasion and, quote, dismantle criminal cartels and restore national sovereignty. I proffer, I put forth to you that we have a military operation underway. And so I'm going to pause there. I want to get to, maybe there's some guys here in the military who can say this. That makes sense. I'm looking to see if anybody, you guys can see it. Mexican cartels deal in death, kids, drugs, all that stuff. Where we go one, we go all. Good place for Millie to end up. Justice served cold at Camp Justice. I love this dismantling plan. And this is something. This is going to be something where we won't know. There's CNN, MSNBC. Nobody is getting in there. The only thing you're going to get, like you just saw with Catherine Herridge, is a picture or a video that they approve. They're not going to tell you. This is where it gets to be a lot of fun. This is where the Democrat heads will just keep exploding. You're right, but this is not the first time America's gone into Mexico to clean out the cartels. We do this every 10 years or so. Yeah, that's because you don't end it. It's like a weed. You don't just spray it. You got to get it out. You got to get out the root. I said that when our military was sent to the border. Yep. And it's funny because there are probably some of you guys, ex-soldiers or something in here, and you're like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to mention what's going on. Remember a couple days ago, I said, things are about to get squirrely. Make sure you got what you need. Maybe you need a couple pew-pews and some ammo. Things, and damn if you don't see things lining up. These things aren't by accident. He just said it at a press conference today. He's talking about Lake and Riley. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to send these people to Gitmo. What? Where the hell did that come from? I didn't even know Gitmo was operational in that regard. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not getting like an email from Gitmo going, hey, come on down for $49.99. You can stay in your own cell. No, I'm not getting that. Who pays for them to stay there? That depends on what they confiscate. That's a whole other thing, which the Democrats may be freaking out. When I see some of the bust here and they're like, hey, listen, they caught $100,000 worth of fentanyl, or they caught X amount of dollars worth of this or that. Well, if they're going in, and if they're going into these situations and they're rooting these people out, not only are they getting to the heart of the enemy, they're getting to the heart of the enemy's product. Cash, people, drugs. Who's going to finance it? Maybe they are. maybe we're going to find out where all this cash has been going. That's another thing. There's so many maybes, and I don't want to get like ahead of myself and start wondering, but what you've heard the last couple days and the amount of craziness you've heard, 40 million here, 60 million here, we have no idea what's going on. But now I feel very comfortable because he's in charge and he's put these two people, Christie and Pete, in charge. We may start seeing some things happen we may not ever know about it. Watch the numbers they give you about the border. Watch the numbers if they start, it's bad enough it's like on a 45-degree reverse angle. It went from 2,000 or 3,000 people per day to like zero almost, a couple hundred. That spigot is being turned off, which means it could have been turned off years ago. They chose not to. Whose bread was getting buttered by these people? So many questions. Yeah, condoms for Gaza. Really? Nah. That's money laundering. And that's why you see the Democrats, in my mind, screaming bloody murder and about everything. They just don't seem to have any cohesive idea as to what's going on. So he says that, just so you guys know, that was one order. And it says, expanding Migrant Operations Center at Naval Station Guantanamo Bay to full capacity. Which I don't know how you could make that order, because how would you know you could fill it up? Could have said, we're expanding it to take as many as we can, blah, 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 all kinds of words, to full capacity. Hey, we can do 30,000. Where the hell? Wow. So what you're also going to be looking at, sounds like to me, you can correct me again if you think I'm wrong, is they're not going to be going through the court system here. If they could do it down there, they're going to go through military tribunals. You're not going to bring these people into Gitmo in private and then send them up to some courthouse in, Washington, D.C. Ain't happening. That's why the Department of Defense, not the National Guard, the Department of Defense. So I think we're about to see some crazy stuff. Listen to what Christy Noem has to say about it.
Town, Mayorkas signed an order that said for 18 months they were going to extend this protection to people that are in temporary protected status, which meant they were going to be able to stay here and violate our laws for another 18 months, and we stopped that. Today we signed an executive order within the Department of Homeland Security in a direction that we were not going to follow through on what he did to tie our hands, that we are going to follow.
That's not on Trump's list. She said, I signed an executive order, or someone signed an executive order just for Homeland Security. I don't even see it anywhere. I'm on the executive order page where we're like, hey, Mayorkas, stick it. So now what they've done is they revoked this TPS, temporary protective status. TPS means Biden and Mayorkas said, you can't touch these people. These people are untouchable for like 18 months. You can't even go after them. What do you mean we can't go after them? No, we gave them temporary protective service status. Kristi Noem goes on television and says, we revoked it. I didn't hear anybody talking about that all day long. Didn't hear the news even mentioning it. What do you mean you revoked the TPS? Yeah, we did it.
Process, evaluate all of these individuals that are in our country, including the Venezuelans that are here and members of TDA. Listen, I was in New York City yesterday, and the people of this country want these dirtbags out. They want their communities to be safe. It was so amazing to me to see people walk by us on the street early in the morning and just say, thank you. Thank you for being here. So this is part of our plan to make sure that we're protecting America, keeping it safe again, just like President Trump promised.
So now let's turn back.
I love listening to the words people say. This is part of our plan. Barry, sometimes you make too much. No, I don't make. These people are very communicative. They know exactly what they're saying. They are giving the media information whether or not they want to take it. This is part of our plan. What's the other part? Gitmo. We're going to roll back TPS, which means these people can no longer stay here. And now we're also going to open Gitmo. She continued later on the Will Cain show.
To the border quickly. Now joining me is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who has an exclusive announcement on more action her department is taking. Secretary, thanks for being with us here today. I understand you have something to share with us that we haven't heard yet about what you're going to be doing at DHS.
Yes, well, thank you, Will, for inviting me to be with you. Today, we are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing.
What? So she goes on Will Cain show. Will Cain is like the 4 o'clock. He took Neil Cavuto's spot. Doesn't really have a big audience. Didn't go on Hannity. Didn't go on Jesse Waters. Didn't go on the 5. Went on the 4 o'clock slot of Will Cain to announce a bombshell. An absolute bombshell. 4 o'clock today. We're taking all the money away from these NGOs. Now, Alex Jones had done a spectacular video, and I think he embedded a video from somebody else, but it was spectacular. It showed that there were like 55,000 different organizations feeding off of these deposits and wire transfers and grants and everything else. 55,000. It would go into this one. It would go offshoot. It almost looked like the burst of a fireworks. It's like, hey, listen, I got money, boom. And then it immediately would go out to all these other organizations. And then when it got to those organizations, boom, boom, it would go out to a whole bunch more. Basically turning it into untraceable cash because there's so many different areas that this money is being funneled to. Hundreds of millions of dollars per month. Hundreds of millions of your dollars and my dollars per month were going to these NGOs, 55,000 of them. Who knows what they were doing? Nobody's doing any accounting. Nobody is watching them. And Trump quietly at 4 p.m. today, after we got off, well, we I don't know what time we got off, but yeah, I think it's after we got off, this gets dropped. And so much is happening right now. I doubt many people heard this on the Will Cain show. Will Cain? Who's Will Cain? They didn't wait to do it in prime time. Let her continue.
Amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent to NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken.
Hold on a second. I see some people in the chat going, what the hell is an NGO? All right, my bad. Let's back up. What is an NGO? NGO stands for non-governmental organization. So the government can say, we didn't do it, but they're funding the NGO. An example of an NGO would be Black Lives Matter. I'm not saying they're involved in all this stuff, but that's an NGO. And another one might be, the Free Palestine Group of America. So they create all these little groups and organizations that aren't government. They're an NGO. The Catholic Church Freedom Movement, NGO. I mean, when you start looking at NGOs, you can put in Google, how many NGOs are there? I bet nobody knows. You could start one. Hey, listen, I'd like to, have an NGO for helping Transformers dye their hair. And they're just doling out money. America is just, here you go. Who knows? The stuff for Gaza condoms might have been, help. Never mind. Not going to go there. I was going to make up a name, but the name might have been a little bit nasty, so I'll just let it go. But anyway, this has been a trick. Is it deep state-ish or just part of the scam? I don't know. But they've been funding these organizations across the world with your money. And you had no idea. So that's what an NGO is.
Action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually using the taxpayer dollars in a way that strengthens this country, that keeps us safe. So I think people are curious when we look at grants that are given out by federal agencies at how they're utilized, and that evaluation needs to be done. We're not spending another dime to help the destruction of this country. We're going to make sure that we follow through on what President Trump has promised, and that's to make sure that we're securing our border, departing those who are here illegally, and committing criminal actions, and that our taxpayer dollars aren't spent to help it.
So you're going to have to do some work on your own. Like I always ask you to do your own homework and start looking at NGOs. And like I said, Alex Jones did one. I think it was yesterday. I saw it about midnight. But he did one, and the guy, and whoever did this video, it was like a what do you call it? It looks almost like a virus. And how it mutates, and it was moving. The guy did an animation. It was incredible. And I'm watching this at midnight last night going, no one's going to believe this. No one's going to believe that there's more than 55,000 organizations. And notice the words she used. Grant. This wasn't even loans. It's like, here. You need 10, 50 grand? Here's 100 grand for you. Here's 200 grand for you. It's absolutely mind-boggling what they've been doing over the last 4 years with your money. And someone asked in the chat, didn't the other senators know about this? That's pretty scary. It's pretty scary when you look at things and wonder to yourself, how many people knew about this? How many people knew that this was going on and either got their bread buttered or just simply looked the other way? I can't tell you. I can't tell you. And now we're starting to see what happens when people start looking. As people are looking to see what the hell happened, this is why you're seeing Democrats right now completely. I'm looking at see if I can find something I wanted to show. If I could find that video. Hold on. Yeah, I can't. But it's on Alex Jones's page. So I was looking to see if I could find it. But in any event, there's no way you would know this. And so these senators there have to be Republican senators who knew exactly what was going on. And it took Trump to get these guys to grow a backbone. Some of them. Who knows what Lisa Murkowski is into? Who knows what Susan Collins is into? We all know that Mitch McConnell's dirty. These people don't want any of this stuff hitting the newspapers and television stations. Not that they report it anyway, because they're also probably involved. So what you take away from this is so much of the Democrat money laundering, money pilfering, whatever you want to call it, it's collapsing on its head. It's collapsing to the point where they don't know what to do. Overnight, this is what it did. Trump pulled the Band-Aid, ripped it up. Done. We're done. We're not sending out any more money. You're done. Well, you're going to hurt the poor peoples and the clinics. And no. And she had to come out 3 or 4 times and go, it has nothing to do with that. People who are sick, people who need medical care, blah, 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 they're still going to get it. It's just all this other stuff that's not happening. It's so bad. You saw it. Those of you who watched the Laken Riley Act signing today, they're talking about a grieving mom, and he's signing into a law. And what did the guy do? He tried to interrupt him to ask him a question about funding. They have no clue at this point what to do. It's become something that I'm trying to find another story I saw today where a judge actually, here's one. A judge said, you can't not give him this money. A judge is trying to force the Trump administration to give, who was it, $200,000 for some, for Chat GPT or something. I would find it, but I just couldn't even fathom what I was looking at. They're trying to force Trump to let the money flow. So many people in so many countries are dependent upon your money that you had no say in and had nothing to do with. It's not a government, it's a crime syndicate. You are absolutely right. Absolutely right. George Carlin said it a long time ago. It's a big club and we ain't in it. we ain't in it. Oh my God, I'm 59 and I knew government was corrupt, but I had no idea it was this bad. It's really bad. I didn't know it was this bad. I mean, I knew that it was bad because we the visible ones you could see. Hey, we're going to send, $50 billion over to Zelensky. And then we'd see Zelensky with a yacht or something. One of the bigger ones that you have to understand is how many times the Pentagon has failed an audit. You can Google that. The Pentagon hasn't been able to basically pass an audit. Where's this money? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You got like $2 trillion missing. Can't find it. I don't see how you fund something or keep the people in charge when they can't answer for the money that they were given. You're worried about Pete Hegseth bumping fuzzies or having drinks. Meanwhile, the people in place can't account for trillions of dollars? I'll take fuzzy bumping and a drink after work over losing $1 trillion any day of the week. Unbelievable. And so now, which makes it more dangerous, need Trump's protection because cutting off the spigot is freaking these people out. So let me go to another executive order that we saw tonight. All right, so you got that one. Now let's freak them out a little bit more. Trump probably said, let's really just drive them absolutely bat poop crazy and basically tickle them with some more information. How about this one? Additional measures to combat anti-Semitism. Oh, this is a beauty. This is an absolute beauty. Which, again, these orders hit at the heart of the Democrat Party. He's going after their mainstays here. Now, this is really long and long and long. You are free to go to the whitehouse.gov and see it, but I just wanted to point it out to you. I'm going to explain it, but I'm not going to read all that. Here's the summation of what it actually is. So I'm going to bring it up in this regard. Mariel Nawal, another great source. Go ahead and follow him. The Trump orders deportation of foreign students who show sympathy for Hamas. All these college kids running around, free, 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 you know what they're saying. President Trump signed an executive order directing agencies to crack down on anti-Semitism in response to protests over the war in Gaza. The order requires universities to report international students and staff who make anti-Semitic statements, including sympathy for those guys, ensuring such reports lead to investigations and deportations when applicable. Trump vowed to enforce U.S. laws aggressively, citing a failure to protect the students post-October 7th and ordering agencies to use all legal tools to combat it. And that's the order I just showed you. So, further, this is the next one. So we got that one at the college level, right? You can think about this right now. You got these Antifas, Intifadas, the nut jobs running around campuses, disrupting stuff. And he's saying now, not only the kids who are doing it, but the staff at your universities who are, fueling this stuff, we're going to be looking at you. And if we find out that you're inciting this, you got to go. Think about that. If you're from another country, you're here on a visa, whatever, and you start talking this crap, and you start making a ruckus, and you start inciting a ruckus, you're going and they're going. Now, the NGOs who were funneling money to these organizations on campus because they were getting paid, those signs ain't free. All those barricades they put together, none of that stuff is free. Now they're going after them too. Absolutely. Let me see this one. Okay, so this is from earlier. And because all these things feed into each other like a web. I would call it a web because you're looking at cat spiders. For sure. So here's this one. This one here goes lower. Ending radical indoctrination in K through 12 schooling. And here's what this one's about. Trump signs executive order to end radical indoctrination in schools. Trump has signed an executive order targeting radical, quote, radical anti-American ideologies in K-12. So Trump, in 2 documents, basically laid waste to the educational departments. K-12 and college kids. The first order was college kids, and now I'm coming after you, K-12. I didn't hear this anywhere. I didn't hear anybody talking about this. And I'm doing my research for this show, and I'm like, man, these nighttime shows are just turning into like craziness. So much stuff is happening after the hours. So let's get back to this so you understand how he built this web. So you just saw the other one that says college kids who go batty, where you better make sure you're secure, and the teachers who are trying to make them go batty, you better make sure you got your ducks in a row because both groups, we're going to destroy you. Now, it goes down. So, all right, that's a college. We took care of the college. Let's go below. K through 12, kindergarten through high school. Signed an executive order targeting radical anti-American ideologies in K-12 education, banning federal funding for programs promoting, I can't even say the word here, and racial equity theories. Stop teaching kids insanity. If you teach kids insanity, we're taking away your funding. The order reestablished the 1776 Commission to promote patriotic education and directs agencies to rescind funds from schools that facilitate transitions without parental consent. Federal enforcement will now crack down on schools violating civil rights laws while promoting a curriculum that highlights American merit, excellence, and national unity. Wow. Everything he seems to be doing, when you sit back and, like, what you doing, bro? I am destroying the Democrat apparatus piece by piece. Everything you guys have done for the last probably 30 years, you hippies that laid like sleeper cells and decided to get tenure at colleges and elite prep schools and turn kids into nuts. Have people go to college to get stupid. And you in the grammar schools who are trying to feed those kids in college, he just cut it off at the knees. It's over. Which I'm sure they're all going to run around and sue and do everything they possibly can. But at some point, you're not going to be able to sue your way out of this. There is too much happening too fast on a daily basis, almost hourly. You're seeing it. I don't know how you actually can defend all this. It's happening so much. And then, of course, you saw this one. This one was earlier today. We all watched it happen. He signed, I guess they're calling this the S5, which is the Lake and Riley Act. S5, the Lake and Riley Act, which requires the Secretary of Homeland Security to take into custody those guys, newcomers who have been charged with theft and for other purposes. Now, this is going to go a lot deeper, the Lake and Riley Act. Now Kristi Noem has something even more powerful to give Tom Homan. Oh, they got in a drunk driving? Take him in. What? Deport them. Oh, they stole something? They jumped the turnstile at New York? It says it. Look, make sure you see this. Theft. That, and other purposes. Oh, the other stuff, yeah, if you do bad stuff to people, yeah, you're definitely. But now the threshold has become so much lower. Do something stupid. Let me see you do something stupid. You're gone. I can just imagine Trump with a hammer and a chisel, and he's just finding every foundational point of the Democrat Party, and he's just using that chisel to chop them up, just to absolutely chop them up. This one's kind of just fun. This one that he did today. This one he's like celebrating America's 250th birthday, and he wants to have a big party on July 4th, 2026, when the nation turns 250 years old, and it just goes through all the different agencies and departments and what he wants to do. So that's just a celebratory one. They could breathe easy. Not a big deal with that one. I told you about this one, which is this was tonight, ending the radical indoctrination in K-12 schooling. It's long. I gave you a synopsis, but you can go through it as you see how long this is. It goes into everything, Title IX, all kinds of stuff. Notice in here it does talk about the birthday. It talks about the birthday and what they want to do. So there may be some stuff in there. I haven't read the whole thing. He dropped that. Now, this one, think of the NEA, National the Teachers Association, whatever they're called. At 4:30 tonight, Trump signs executive order sending his, quote, many federal education funds as possible towards school choice. What did I say about the chisel? What did I say? He was just... If you, as a parent, can decide for yourself, I pay my property taxes, I pay my taxes where I live, I don't want to send my kid to this school. I want my dollars to follow the child, not the school. So if little Bobby wants to go to the school, across town, I can put my money towards that school, especially if it's a private school. Again, that is a foundational standard of the Democrats. So in one evening, just since 4:30, put it in, I don't know, some sort of column. And he said, listen, down here, I'm going to allow parents to take their kids to whatever school they want. the ones who can't afford or whatever, we're going to make sure you can't indoctrinate these kids up till high school. And then when these kids get to college, you can't do it there either. He just built a pillar that destroys the entire ideology indoctrination that the left insists on. That's genius. That is absolutely, stunningly genius. And he did it, all of that, tonight. So everything that they were running around today talking about RFK Jr. and him supporting and buying onesies that say crazy stuff that Bernie was talking about, embarrassing themselves, they don't even have time to lick their wounds from this afternoon. Now they got to deal with that tonight. And we don't even know what tomorrow holds. Oh, yeah, that's right, we do. We got Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard. The only thing the Democrats have is that the Republicans don't have their poop together. And what I mean by that is there's information coming out that Tulsi Gabbard doesn't have the votes because the Republicans are folding the tent on her, not the Democrats. The only way any of this gets stopped, none of it gets stopped, except with Republicans being wussies, being soy boys and women, and turning their back on Trump and not giving him Tulsi. In fact, I heard one memo is that they're saying like he needed to pick two of the three. You can have one of these three. You can have RFK. One of these three got to go. RFK, Tulsi, Kash, but you're only going to get two. We need, we need to claim something here. Recess. I would almost venture we may see a recess appointment very soon or right thereafter, because I don't see how you're going to tell Trump, don't do that. It's not going to happen. All right, so before I get into the next section, let me go ahead and talk to you about Mike Huckabee and what he's been doing with kids. President Trump said he wants to teach our kids to love our country, and now that he's been inaugurated and on the job, it's the perfect time to teach kids everything they need to know about their new president and his mission to make America great again. That's why Mike Huckabee's team put together the Kids Guide to President Trump, and to celebrate President Trump's return to the White House, they're giving it away for free. Doesn't cost you a dime. This book is great because it features fun illustrations and content teaching kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his goal for his second term. Mike Huckabee wants to send your family this free guide so that you can teach your kids the truth about President Trump. And when you order, you'll receive a free commemorative President Trump pin. But you must hurry because supplies are limited. Claim your free Kids Guide to President Trump for your kids right now. See offer details and order your free guide at kidstrumpguide.com. That's kidstrumpguide.com. Or you can just go ahead and click on the QR code and it'll take you to kidstrumpguide.com. All right, so I'm going to continue here. Actually, let me take a few comments. Let me see what you guys are thinking about some of this stuff. Recess appointment for Tulsi and Kash. It's about time. Never understand how foreigners who use anti-Semitism were allowed to do. Recess this weekend. That would be interesting. If tomorrow doesn't go like it's supposed to, we may see it happen this weekend. The Republicans that don't follow where'd they go? That don't follow the Trump agenda will be primary. Oh yeah, I got something to tell you about that for sure. Let's see here. Teachers can teach again and children can learn again. That's a win. They got lazy with all the virtual stuff. Exactly. $50 million would have helped our people of North Carolina so much. It would help the people of North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of Georgia, and California. But no, they wanted to, basically stiff people. It just doesn't make any sense how you're giving away all that money. Can a recess appointment be impeached? That went by pretty fast. Where was that? Here it is. Can a recess appointment be impeached as a payback by Trump haters? It's possible, except for one thing. It'll never work. You don't have the votes. I believe you need 60 or 66 maybe that's why Trump didn't matter. You guys can go through your shenanigans here, but you don't have enough of the votes. It's a very, very high bar to cross. You just don't have the impeachment and then file the articles and then a person's kicked out of office. You got to get an overwhelming amount of votes to get them out. So that ain't going to happen. Democrats created Trump. And I think at this point, they may be starting to realize it. I mean, it's becoming apparent that, I've said it for quite some time, they're adrift. There's no leadership. Obama's gone. I don't know what Obama's doing. He left. He checked out. I'm done. Michelle Obama, she may have checked out twice. She may have checked out from him, and I ain't got nothing to do with his politics. Hillary Clinton, she's worthless. There's nobody else there. Gavin Newsom, you just literally set your career on fire. So who's out there? Chucky? Schumer? Nah. Dime Store Obama? Hakeem Jeffries? Nah. They don't have anybody. Right now, Bernie Sanders talking about, or you're going to sell the onesies. I don't think... It was a crap show today, watching these people. Trump also said something else. So this may be a precursor to something coming tomorrow. I want you guys to see this. So much. Because Jay Powell, and that's the head of the Federal Reserve, failed to stop the problem they created with inflation, I will do it by unleashing American energy production, slashing regulation, rebalancing international trade, and reigniting American manufacturing. But I will do much more than stopping inflation. I will make our country financially and otherwise powerful again. The Fed has done a terrible job on bank regulation. Treasury is going to lead the effort to cut unnecessary regulation. I'm sure you guys can see all this. And will unleash lending for all American people and businesses. If the Fed had spent less time on DEI, that ideology, green energy, and fake climate change, inflation would never have been a problem. Instead, we suffered from the worst inflation in the history of our country. I put particular emphasis on that. Y'all didn't do it. I gave you a chance. I don't know what you were doing. I'm going to take care of it. I will do it. He didn't say Congress. So, expect a couple more executive orders tomorrow or later tonight. I will do it, he says. So it just keeps coming. He's on a roll, and don't mess with him at this point because he just keeps kicking butt and taking names. Let me see where I am. Okay. Is this the one? Okay, that's the K through 12. All right, so tomorrow, well, let me continue with this.
Their home. As federal employees, they must meet a high standard. They're representing our government. They're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful. As you understand, a lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly.
Did you catch what he just said? I know you're not. I just want you. That little minute and a half had two big fangs to it. Two huge fangs. One, get your butts back into the office by February 5th or 6th. And if you're not back in the office on February 5th or 6th, we're going to fire you. So you can either self-deport from the government, or you need to show up, or you're going to hire a lawyer and sue. But before you do that, before you sue the federal government because you're getting fired, make extremely sure that you haven't done as much as drive an Uber. Because if you were working another job while you were supposed to be working for us, that's criminal. That's fraudulent. And as I've said many times, don't ask the question if you don't already know the answer. Understand, yesterday, it was yesterday or the day before, Scott Bessent got confirmed. Scott Bessent is the new Department of the Treasury. You know, the guys who can look at your taxes and tell if someone has been taking payroll taxes out. So he already knows. Scott Bessent probably went, ooh, yeah, there's a bunch of people working, Donnie. There's a bunch of people over the last 3 years who've been working 2 and 3 jobs while they say they work here. Because this is the first time, I know it's only been 8 days, but it's the first time you heard that part of the equation. Yeah, you've heard I'm going to reduce the number of employees, we're going to fire you, want to get you back to the office. Oh, by the way, I got something new for you. If you've been working while you've been working for us, you're screwed. So, what he said at the end there is probably going to be the easy way out. I'm thinking a lot of people aren't going to show up. Because if you have been working, I don't care if you're a waitress, if you're a server, if you were doing anything. Now people say, I could have been doing it for a part-time job. I've been hearing from people, I don't work for the government, but you can't do that if you work for the government. Didn't know that. It definitely better not have been during work hours. Maybe you get away with it if you did it at night. Hey, listen, I drove an Uber on the weekends. I don't know. I've never worked for the government. I don't know if they preclude you from having any second job, but we're going to find out. So if you took a job, let's forget the Uber at night. Let's forget the server at night. Let's think 9 to 5. Maybe some of you guys have worked in the government and you let me know if it's precluded, but I definitely know you can't be making any money when you're supposed to be at work. So let's say your office hours are 9 to 5, 8 to 6, whatever, and they can pull your taxes. And not your taxes, payroll taxes. So they're not even invading your privacy. You know, Joe's Restaurant said, yeah, she works the first shift. How does she do that? Oh, now you got a whole other problem. You know what? We'll agree not to prosecute you. Just get out. Or maybe you just don't show up. Yeah, I'm not going to. At this point, you better, the people who just heard that part, which is scary because there's going to be a lot of people who didn't hear that. He knows that CNN and ABC and CBS aren't covering his speeches. So he spent 1 minute tapping that on the end of the Laken-Riley Signing Act to say, if you've been working another job, it's your ass. Excuse my language. Imagine that. I mean, just so much is happening here. I got Ray's here, said, Barry, the military has to get prior approval if they want to work a second job. At least it was when I was serving. Okay, great. Man, that's yeah. And if you end up getting in trouble, there's no severance package. So maybe I just want to go ahead and say, let me take the severance package. You're not gonna investigate me? No. I'm out. I'm looking to see. I'm scrolling through to see if many of you guys have. Okay. Some of you guys are government. Barry, you are correct. If you're on duty from 0700 to 1600 for a government job, you cannot work anywhere else during those hours. So just understand, there are literally millions of people who've been doing work from home and doing absolutely nothing. And Trump just dropped that on them today. I mean, I think it was, let me see if I can rewind it. It probably was, here, I can tell you. Let's listen to it again real quick.
Meet a high standard. They're representing our government. They're representing our country. If they don't agree by February 6th to show up back to work in their office, they will be terminated, and we will therefore be downscaling our government, which is...
Okay, so now he's going to move. So I'm looking at the timer to tell you how people are going to know this.
Something that the last 10 presidents have tried very hard to do but failed. Most of the people we're talking about have not been going to their federal offices in many, many years, from even before COVID. But they have nevertheless been paid. Some have worked, some haven't worked, and most of the studies say that some have just gone through the motions. We may ask these people to prove that they didn't have another job during their so-called employment with the United States of America, because if they did, that would be unlawful. As you understand, a lot of people are getting paychecks, but they're actually working other jobs, so they'll have to prove that to us that they weren't. In any event, we're requiring them to show up to work or be terminated. We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient, and that's what we've been looking to do for many, many decades, frankly.
It was 17 seconds out of that clip. So if NBC's not showing it and CBS and The View, if nobody covered that, these people aren't going to know. All they're gonna hear is, "Hey, listen, you got to go back to the office. And if you don't go back to the office, you're fired." He ain't firing me. I'll sue. You ain't gonna just fire me. And you missed that other part. You missed that other part. Were you working? Remember, this goes back years. So just imagine, it's 2025. Let's say, mid 2022, 3 years ago. You're into this work from home thing for 6 months. And you're like, nobody's checking on me. They don't even care if I log in. Let me run another month with this and see what happens. And then you're on month 7 or month 8. And you're like, I'm getting paid and nobody's even calling me to see what I'm doing. So I'm getting this X amount a week from the government, and nobody's checking, so I could go work over here, and I'm going to make 2 salaries, and the government's paying me for nothing. OMG. I would not want to be that person. Not at all. That was so sweet. OMG, this is so sweet, you loafers. What's that? What'd that say? Barry, you should do real deep digging research on the tribunals. They started 5 years ago. This got out right away. The info was shut down. Yeah, but they let most of the people go. Remember, Dementia Joe was shipping these guys out to Qatar and everywhere else. Hey, just go ahead, let them loose. So they didn't have that many people left there. And Trump's like, okay, well, we're going to use it now that you cleaned it all out. Are we paying these people? Okay, Angel, I don't want to piss you off, but yes, you've been paying these people. You, me, and the rest of the people in this chat have been paying these people for 2 or 3 years, and they haven't even been showing up for work. Yes, that's better than food stamps. Yep. You just keep getting paid. I'm listening to what you guys were saying here. Yeah, they all know fraud counsels all. They need to add more beds to Gitmo. Double dipping. Yeah, all this stuff. It's criminal. This is ridiculous. We're getting to a point. I think I tweeted it. Some other people as well posted it and everything. We're getting to a point where people are like, why am I paying taxes? I work my ass off. I do this. I do that. I make sure this works and this happens. And you're making me, depending on your tax rate, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 50% of my money is going to fund this insanity. These 55,000 NGOs. These people who aren't even working. These millions of square feet of office space. The lights, the janitorial. I'm paying for all of this, and you're not being a good steward of my money. And every 2 weeks, my boss keeps taking it and giving it to you. And I don't have any choice. I would love for Trump to do something about that law. Do something about the law that says the employer has to grab the money out your check. You know, there are so many good people in this country. Let them be the ones to write the check on April 15th. Don't take my money. And then if they have a gripe, like, listen, hey, I've just seen all this waste. I see what you're doing with the money. Sorry. Because right now people can't say, I'm not paying in taxes. I'm not doing it. You have stolen from me. I'm not paying. You don't have a choice. You do not have a choice unless you're self-employed. But if you work for somebody, it's coming out of your check unless you file exempt or something. It's absolutely crazy. We are getting to the point where people start scratching their head and going, didn't they start something in 1776 because of this? Didn't they throw some tea overboard or something? Because it was like, I've had enough. I have had enough. Elon posted this yesterday. A fork in the road. If you haven't seen, that's the title of the letter that Trump sent to all the employees. And it was this. It was breaking. Trump administration offers all 2 million federal workers a chance to take a deferred resignation with a severance package. 5 to 10% of the workforce is estimated to quit, which could lead to around $100 billion in savings just by them quitting. And he says fork in the road. Let's see if he still has that picture up. He had it as it was his what do you call it? It was his profile picture. It's gone now, but he had the fork in the road there. Hold on, so I don't have to blind you with the scrolling. Let me just see if I can bring it up real quick. Man, this guy posts so much, but I can't find it as of right now. But he had a fork in the road, and it was crazy. And because that's the actual letter that Trump put out there. And so what we're seeing is people are starting to really wake up to the waste, the absolute crazy waste that's being laid on the American people, and how they're taking your money, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. Okay, I want you to see this. This was what Alex Jones put out. On the Alex Jones show, they showed a chart showing 55,000 NGOs who receive money from the federal government. NGOs are basically the fourth branch of government, this guy is saying. From election interference to grooming, I can't say that, these NGOs have their hands everywhere. So if you go and watch this video on Alex Jones's page, this is just a picture. All of those things represent an NGO getting paid. Every single one of those. So if you look at this big ball here, where my mouse is, that big ball is a whole cluster of NGOs. And then you can see the cloudburst. That's 55,000 different entities that are taking your money. Well, actually, they're not taking. They've been given your money. 55,000 entities. I watched that video last night, and I had to rewind it. I was stunned at what I was seeing. Absolutely stunned. Crazy, 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 crazy. So let's continue with the video, because I want you guys to be able to see this next part. Okay, so let's go here. I believe this is Caroline Levitt.
Morning, guys. Good morning. How are we?
Can we borrow you?
Sure.
Don't say again. Yeah.
Because it's just a couple. I have a meeting.
We'll make it fast.
And then I'll be back out in a little bit if you have more. What's going on?
One question about these buyouts. You've been describing it as this effort to get folks to return to work. The union that represents federal workers, though, says this isn't a voluntary buyout. They say this is a purge of people that don't agree with the president. Well, what's your response?
That's absolutely false. This is a suggestion to federal workers that they have to return to work. And if they don't, then they have the option to resign. And this administration is very generously offering to pay them for 8 months. 6% of the federal workforce in the city actually shows up to work. That's unacceptable. We're all here at work at the office. There are law enforcement officers and teachers.
6%. 94% of government employees don't go to the office, but they're paid your money. Why did it take Trump getting elected for us to even hear that stat? Why did the Biden administration hide that information? Now, here's where the problem is. You got guys and you have people like Alex Jones. I saw Tucker put something out. People are now starting to dig because even they didn't know. Even some of these big podcasters and people who've got resources to dig, they didn't know that they were funding 55,000 NGOs, and that 94% of the government was a no-show. Just don't show up.
And nurses across the country who showed up to the office today, people in this city need to do the same. It's an overwhelmingly popular policy with people outside of Washington, D.C. The president campaigned on this, and his administration's keeping the promise.
Quick question to follow up on that. How much more is it going to cost? Because a lot of the space has now been given away. Leases have expired. New purchases need to take place. What will it cost to bring all those workers back to create the new offices they need?
It's going to save tens of millions of dollars because this government has been wasting millions of dollars on empty office space. That is beautiful. I mean, look at the buildings in this city. They're gorgeous. They've been here for decades, and the American people are paying for them. And so we're going to make good use of the office space in the city by having these federal workers return to work. I would also add...
I have a question. Why is it partisan? That's one of the things that I don't understand the media. You would think this is a huge story. You find out that 94% of government employees don't come back to don't go to work. You find out you're being told now 94% of these people who get your money don't come to work. How is the outrage a right side only thing? How are people on the left not screaming about it? Every single one of those reporters pays taxes, or supposed to be paying taxes. Every single one of them. Why are they so concerned about what's Trump going to do? No, why aren't you pissed off going, why didn't we know about this? Who are these people? Do we have a list of them? How do we account? Why are they not being reporters? Why are they bitching about it? Why are you whining? Why? I don't, what are you, kids in romper room? You can't run your home budget that way. If you were paying a contractor to do something on your house and you gave him the deposit and he didn't show up, you don't say, he didn't show up. What am I going to do now? I got to pay extra. It's going to cost more. No. You get pissed off. You try to track these people down and say, listen, I gave you a deposit. Get your butt working on my house. I don't think these people could survive in the real world. There's not one of you, if you gave someone a deposit and they didn't do what they're supposed to do, would you just look the other way and said, why are you giving these people a hard time? I'm like, how is this a right and left thing? How is it that the Democrats aren't screaming about it as well? I'll answer it for you, because none of this is political. It is good versus evil. It is right versus wrong. I give you a job. Your job is to do X, Y, and Z. You get paid for that job. You don't do that job, you should be fired. No, don't fire them. And why are you deporting people? And I told you this afternoon, one of the people from one of the inspector generals, they had to carry her out the office. You got fired.
The order simply directs federal agencies to come up with a return to work plan. And so this isn't a purge, and this isn't forcing every single individual in Washington, D.C. to return to work, only if they are able and, of course, within the law.
One more quick one, if I can, about the defense secretary right now. We heard that Pete Hegseth has now taken away the security protections that General Mark Milley has. Ahead of his confirmation, Pete Hegseth said that his priority would be focusing on the warriors within the military as his number one priority, not politics. Is this putting politics before the warrior workforce by focusing on what seems to be punitive in the eyes of many critics?
All right, Caroline, can I take this? Since I'm going to be in the press room, can I take the answer to this? This moron here who says it seems like his focus is political. It probably took all 15 seconds. Hey, go look up and tell me what benefits Milley still has. Okay, I said that in 3 seconds. You go do all the work. Tell me if you can. Okay. Hey, Mr. Hegseth, yes. He still has this, he still has this, and he still has that. Okay, cancel it all. Next. What do you mean focus? Have you never, ever delegated? I didn't have to focus. I got somebody I'm working with, some assistant. While I'm on the phone, hey, can you look up all the, whatever benefits that Mark Milley is still getting, and let me know what he's got. So yeah, what time are we coming over for dinner? Hold on a second. This guy's in my office. What can I do for you? Oh, Milley still has all his benefits. Go ahead and cancel that shit. Okay. What do you mean focus? They make it seem like, oh my God, he's going after a political enemy and he's focused. It's that simple. It makes you think that these people have no real world experience whatsoever. It's like he said, the Secretary of Defense is sitting around going, okay, what do I do next? Oh, here's my phone. Okay. Where's the Air Force? Oh, it's in Colorado. Okay. These people are stupid. Absolutely stupid. She obviously dices this guy up.
Action that Pete Hegseth took when he showed up at the Pentagon was telling that the warriors that work within that building, and most importantly our service members who serve this country in uniform, that DEI would no longer be a part of the United States military. We're focused on lethality, we're focused on strength again, and we're focused on rebuilding our military, which is something we haven't seen over the past 4 years. As for General Milley, the president's position on this remains the same as it does for John Bolton and the other individuals. He doesn't believe that these people should have the right to have security clearances and private details for the rest of their lives. Again, taxpayers are funding it, and the individuals you're mentioning are quite wealthy.
Wait. Who's funding it? Oh, that's right. You are funding it, Mr. Reporter. Do you still want to pay for Anthony Fauci and John Bolton and Mark? You want to pay for all these rich guys? Oh, you didn't think about that, did you? They're morons. They're absolute morons.
I understand, so they can get their own private security if they want.
Questions just about the freeze on federal loans and grants. What will the report and review process look like when it goes to OMB for review? And also, now that a federal judge has temporarily blocked it, what are the plans moving forward on that? Because it seems like that Q&A memo that was released yesterday as well was trying to kind of explain a lot of the widespread confusion that a lot of these different organizations who rely on that funding had. So
she's worried about these organizations that rely on funding. Caroline, can I take this one? Get my seat, so I'll just turn around. What are those organizations, sweetie? Now, can you name them? Can you name the organizations that rely on this funding? I'll wait, because it's going to take you a long time to go through all these. Now, once you tell me who they are, what do they do? What does the whale snot activist group do for their 40,000, 50,000, 100,000? What do they do? What do the balloon blower upper company in Texas that only Transformers can work at? What do they do? Why are we giving them? Number one, why are we giving them the money? Number two, who gave them this money? I bet you don't know. They're asking questions. She's being very, very nice. I ain't got that kind of time. Like Nicole Shanahan said, I ain't got to be nice. She's being nice. She's the press secretary. She's using her decorum. She's a nice woman. When she should have just said, Jane, you ignorant, you know what? Before you ask me that question, because Trump would have told her, do you know who gets the money? See, they don't want Trump in these press conferences because he doesn't care. Do you know who gets all this money? No, sir. Well, why don't you go look at that before you ask me a question?
Just on both of those questions. Yeah, well, that's why the Q&A was released, so that there is no confusion. There's no confusion within this building. I know there is, again, amongst the media and those who don't seem to just be able to read a memo and take it for what it is. It's very clear. This is a temporary...
You know how stupid someone must be when they don't realize they were insulted to their face? She just did it in such a smiley face with her blonde hair and just looked you right in the eye and goes, I don't understand why you people can't even read a frickin' memo. Oh, well, we weren't taught, Miss Levitt. That's why we're asking you questions, because we're taping everything, because we don't even know how to read the memo.
Pause on federal funding to ensure that tax dollars are not funding things that this president has signed out of law. So the Green New Deal, DEI, etc. As I said repeatedly yesterday, and I would like to double down on the fact that Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, which I'd like to be clear on that today, welfare benefits, individual assistance, food stamps, etc. will not be impacted. So the American people should not be confused about this. And in fact, they should be grateful that this administration is actually valuing their hard-earned tax dollars.
What about the federal, what is the response, though, to the federal judge's temporary block this? That's expected to play out in court on Monday. What are your guys' plan regarding that? And also, just going back to the review process, what does that look like?
Everything this administration does is within the confines of the law, and so we're prepared to fight this fight in court.
Thank you, Caroline, for stopping.
But is there any concern?
Okay. So talking about stupid people. My wife understands I have a good intellect. And believe it or not, I don't have as strong a vocabulary as she does. She likes to rub that in my face. All these books back there, she's read it all. She's like, I read through all these books. I buy books. I still read. And the entirety of our 33-year marriage, there have been times when she's needled me and she goes, you know what? I love you. She goes, because you're not like the average jock. And I'm like, what's the average jock? Big, dumb jock. She goes, sometimes you come across that way. I have to say, in 33 years, you said some stupid stuff. You got your stupid jock tendencies. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're a big, dumb jock sometimes. Well, I'm about to show you the definition of a big, dumb jock who's trying to portray himself as though he's not a big, dumb jock. And I want to salute Caroline Levitt, because she could have just embarrassed this guy to the point where he had some serious shrinkage and slid off the stage. So let's listen to this.
That we risk losing people with years of experience, like doctors and let's say scientists.
Well, most doctors who work in actual hospitals and medical institutions have to show up to the office. We know that
Dude, you should have let somebody script a question. So, this order and stuff, what if we end up losing doctors and scientists and stuff? And she just, doctors and scientists kind of go to work, man. Did you really just say that? That's Michael Strahan, who used to play for the New York Giants, whose gig these days is he's on, I don't know, AM Stupidity, whatever show it is. And he just asked the presidential press secretary on live TV, what are you going to do about, if we end up losing doctors and scientists and stuff? And she just rolled with it and like, well, they usually go to work. What are you talking about?
Employees are more productive and more efficient when they are working in an in-office environment, and that's what this administration expects, and I think that's what American taxpayers expect. Don't forget, it's the American people who are funding this government, and they deserve people who are actually...
I pity him because I'm pretty sure when they went to commercial, when they cut, whoever else was on set just turned and looked at him. You dumb jock. That's what you came up with? The doctors who aren't going to go back to the office? The doctors who aren't going to go back to the office. They're working remotely. It's kind of hard to do your doctoring. I mean, I know there's telehealth, but even with telehealth, you're talking to somebody. So it's kind of hard to be a lawyer or a scientist if you don't go in the office, because you can't be scientisting and you can't be lawyering and you definitely can't be doctoring unless you're seeing patients. You stupid jock. You don't hate the media enough. You are the media. Understand, I keep saying it, a lot of people are saying it, you are the media. They can't hold a candle to you. They're in their multi-million dollar studios, and they've got staff and they've got lighting, and all you have to do is talk to the woman. And you went off script without any clue what the hell you were talking about. And I salute her again, because she was able to, basically just deal with it. Oh, God. You mean I can't have surgery? Your doctor's not showing up. Okay? Damn these morons. Every single day the media just keeps showing people their elevators don't go to the top. They're not bringing us their best. Jim Acosta signed off. Yeah, I'm done. I can't do it. And that's why we're kicking their butts. They can't stand people who do stuff like I do. They can't stand us. You mean tell me you're just sitting in there in your home office with some lights and a camera, and people want to hear what you have to say? Yeah, deal with it. I can't imagine if I could just walk in, stroll into the studio, and what's up? Makeup, do me, good. Do my hair. Well, you don't have to. Ain't nothing up there. All right. So, what? You got a big teleprompter I can read? Okay. Who am I talking to at 11? Fred. Okay. Fred. Okay. You're gonna. I don't have to hit no buttons. I just got to sit here. You're gonna pay me $1 million? It got too good for these people. It got really too good, and now they're being embarrassed. It's just too much. I can't. Oh, yeah. Oh goodness, this stuff here. Did he go off script? Wait a minute. What is it? Did he go off script? ABC and CBS and NBC have a whole different outlook, so maybe they don't see it as stupid because they haven't seen their stupid yet. He's lucky he was talking to somebody who has to keep her decorum up because she represents Trump, and it's a good thing he wasn't talking to Trump, because he doesn't have to be nice. Like Nicole Shanahan said, I ain't got to be nice. I ain't got to be nice. And Trump would have probably said something. You got a doctor that doesn't go to work? When's the last time you've been to a doctor that doesn't show up to work? Probably not too often, because he doesn't show up. You flippin' moron. Oh, gosh. Good gosh. This turns into a comedy routine looking at these people. That's why they're bouncing off the walls. There's nobody guiding them. All right, so I want to switch to something real quick here. I've got some more stuff to go over on an individual basis, like 6 or 7 things to show you. But I want to spend a little bit of time. It's like about 10 minutes. Those of you those of you who are watching this morning when we talked to or watched the RFK Jr. hearing, may not have realized there was another important hearing going on today. And I don't know, maybe because I like money, that hearing was probably more important. Really? I know people are like, what do you mean, more important than health? Yeah, this guy's about the money. And I just love Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick went before the Senate, and they went through his thing pretty quick. Yeah, okay, what time's lunch? Because we can't talk to this guy. He's talking circles around us. So I got a couple pieces that we can look at of him at his hearing. The first piece, however, is from the rally in New York, because this piece in the rally, which I've showed it before, kind of sets the tone for how these hearings went. I mean, how the hearing went with him today.
When was America great? At the turn of the century, our economy was rocking. This is 1900, 125 years ago. We had no income tax. And all we had was tariffs. All we had was tariffs. And we had so much money that we had the greatest businessmen of America get together to try to figure out how to spend it. That's who we were then. But then we had World War I and we had World War II. And we felt we had a duty to rebuild the rest of the world. So here's what we did. We took down our protection. We took down our tariffs. And we turned instead and we taxed Americans so that we could export the power of our economy and save the rest of the world, which we did. Now let me ask you a question. What decade should that have ended? Should it have ended in the 80s? The 90s? 2000? What in the world are we doing? We're letting the rest of the world eat our lunch. And it is time to make America great again. I grew up on Long Island.
So some of you remember that. That was the first time I really started getting excited about, this is really an idea. They really want to do this. So you would think, like they, dug into RFK Jr. today with everything they were trying to bring up. And, you said this, you're a conspiracy theorist, that, and you, blah, blah, everything, right? Okay. So you would think, having seen this guy's speech, that maybe we should talk to him about this crazy idea about income taxes. Well, they didn't, because he's so up here above their heads that they couldn't even touch him. He'll probably get confirmed 95 to nothing, or 80 to 20, something crazy. They're like, yeah, you can just leave because, oh shoot. Because this guy knows his stuff. And see, the Democrats have tried to, for quite some time, paint the picture of millionaires and billionaires being bad. And you know that Trump has said, I'm not taking any salary. And then today I saw this. Let me see if I can pull this up. Where is it? I'm getting there. Then today, Kelly Loeffler said, I ain't taking any salary. I'm going to donate my entire salary to charity, if confirmed. Big money. I don't need this. This is a pittance. But have you heard Elizabeth Warren? Heard even Nancy Pelosi, who's got hundreds of millions? Have you heard them say, at any time, I don't want the government salary? Nope. But Trump's people are like, don't need it. So they started in on Howard Lutnick here. Howard Lutnick, another billionaire, proud billionaire. And he's like, not only am I not taking a salary, I'm divesting. And one of the idiots were like, what's that mean? I'm going to sell my company or leave it for now. I'm not even going to have any association with my company. I don't need it. I'm doing this because I care about America. You see, that's one of the things these people aren't talking about. They're not even broaching the subject of Kelly Loeffler, Howard Lutnick. Even RFK Jr. said I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm not doing this for a paycheck. I didn't show up like AOC off of a bar stool. I didn't show up like Jasmine Crockett out of the wherever she comes from. Scary to think. I'm here to fix America. I'm not here to profit off of America. So he starts telling his story.
In New York, my mother was an artist, as you said, and an art teacher. My father was a professor of American history. My mother, Jane, taught me how to appreciate life. When I was 14, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer. But she decided if she was going to die before then, she was going to live. I'll never forget the day she pulled me out of class. So I rushed to the car and said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "I'm okay, let's go." We drove to New York City. We went to art galleries. Then we went to the opera. We went to a late night dinner, got home super late. And of course, she expected me to get up and get to school on time the next day. My mother died in February 1978 when I was 16 years old. A year and a half later, my father was diagnosed with lung cancer. He kept his diagnosis secret from me because he wanted to make sure I left to start college in the fall. He dropped me off at school, and a week later, he went for his first chemotherapy treatment at a local hospital. The nurse accidentally gave him the wrong dose, and he died right then and there. It was September 12th, 1979, and I was 18 years old. So we all know losing one parent is heartbreaking, but losing both is something entirely different. It's life-shattering. Without any support from our extended family, Edie and I put my 15-year-old brother in a boarding school right near my college, and he would sleep with me in my dorm room on the weekends. The next year, Gary moved up to live with my sister and spent the next 2 years living with her while she earned her law and business degree. The three of us became inseparable. But as you can imagine, the pain we suffered when Gary and 657 of my other friends and colleagues at Kenneth Fitzgerald were killed on 9/11.
Hold on a second. Let me just jump in here for a second. When 9/11 happened, Howard had a huge capital firm in New York City, way up in the top of the World Trade Center. It was called Cantor Fitzgerald. And he lost a whole bunch of his employees, and you can just see the emotion. This guy's gone through tremendous pain. Lost both parents by the age of 18, picks himself up by his bootstrap, decides to start a company, and then a plane flies into the World Trade Center and destroys everything that he had worked for. In addition to taking, I believe it was 200 plus of his employees. Like that. Done. Gone. Man.
The company was located on the top 5 floors of the World Trade Center. I still can't say without being emotional, sorry. But no one in the office survived. I was taking my son Kyle to his first day of kindergarten, which is why I'm with you today. The company was destroyed, but on September 12th, I hosted a call with my surviving employees, and I laid out 2 choices for them. We could either attend our friends' funerals, but that's 20 funerals a day for 33 straight days. Or we could try to rebuild the company to take care of the 658 families that we lost that day. So this phone call led to one of the most extraordinary events in American business history. All of our employees, both new and those that survived, agreed to donate 25% of their salaries to the families of 9/11 colleagues. So together we raised $180 million over the next 5 years for those families. And my employees, they stitched my soul back together. My employees never expected to get paid back, but I had other ideas. So in 2008, we took a division of our company public, and I gave each and every one of those employees double of what they had given to those families. I've worked at Cantor my entire career, 41 years, and rebuilding the company over the past 24 years is my greatest business achievement. After 9/11, we were down to about 1,000 employees. Today, the company employs more than 14,000. I'm so proud of my exceptional friends at Cantor, BGC, and Newmark. I saw the strength of the American spirit during President Trump's campaign, and it fueled my desire to serve our nation. We need healthy businesses, small, medium, and large, to hire our great American workers to drive our economy. I will dedicate myself to making our government more responsive, working to ensure Americans have the greatest opportunity for success. I am an outcome-driven leader, and upon my confirmation, I will take a thoughtful and rigorous approach to leading this great department and serving our country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I look forward to taking your questions.
Talked about.
I'd have got up and said, I'm good. I gotta bounce, okay? I gotta go. I got another meeting. I know this was supposed to last for like a couple hours, but I'm good. You good? I'm good. We're good. We're out. I don't even know how you ask questions after that. I hadn't seen that. Many of you guys probably hadn't seen it because we were watching RFK. But just his open, just that story is such a story of achievement after adversity. You talk about adversity provides opportunity. His success story after he incurred all of that ongoing adversity to the point where it still pains his heart. There's not a single one of those people up on that panel who could even remotely discuss what that man can do. A billionaire who also, you know how they always say billionaires don't like people? A billionaire who took care, I said 200, it was 650 people. No, not 650 families. He took care of the families of the people who were killed on 9/11, and he didn't use a dime of government. And then when the other employees helped out, he paid them all back. And then grew his company 14 sizes. Went from 1,000 people to 14,000. What do you want to ask me? At that point, I'd have been like, yeah, I got nothing for you. Yeah. What time? What do you ask a guy when he tells you that? Well, they tried.
The United States AI capabilities, and that we're in a dead heat with China. This week we heard about DeepSeek, and that I think it's having us examine kind of where we are right now with that. If confirmed, given the Commerce Department's breadth of influence on that issue, how will you address different threats that we see coming from the CCP within these information and technology markets?
I take a very jaundiced view of China. I think they only care about themselves and seek to harm us. And so we need to protect ourselves. We need to drive our innovation, right? And we need to stop helping them. You know, open platforms, Meta's open platform, let DeepSeek rely on it. NVIDIA's chips, which they bought tons of and they found their ways around it, drive their DeepSeek model. It's got to end. If they're going to compete with us, let them compete, but stop using our tools to compete with us. So I'm going to be very strong on that. I'm thrilled to oversee BIS, and I'm thrilled to coordinate and empower BIS with tariffs that will improve the strength when we say no.
There he goes again. Tariffs. This man is tariff. Let's just go after these people. Let's level the playing field. And I know what I'm talking about. I've done this. I've done the research. I know what we're going to be able to do. Okay.
The answer's got to be no. So my plan is to only serve the American people. So I will divest, meaning I will sell all of my interests, all of my business interests, all of my assets, everything. I've worked to together with the Office of Government Ethics, and we've reached agreement on how to do that, and I will be divesting within 90 days upon my confirmation. So I should have no business interest, therefore no conflicts of interest. I've made the decision that I've made enough money in my life. I can take care of myself. I can take care of my family. It is now my chance to serve the American people. And so
I saw something somebody put in here, and I feel the same way. At that point, they just like, wait, when can you start? What day can you start? There's nothing you can ask a man of that caliber. I'm selling it all. I don't care. I'm coming in here to fix the American government. Trump told me what we need to do. I'm selling billions. I don't want it. I don't need it. My family's comfortable. I'm comfortable. Let's rock.
Upon confirmation, my businesses will be for sale, and someone else will lead them going forward. But the Office of Government Ethics and I have reached agreement. We've signed the document. I've made it public. And going forward, I will always consult. The Commerce Department has a great ethics department. I've already met with them, and I plan to stay in close contact with them and avoid all conflicts so I can just serve America. I think when you pick one product in Mexico, they'll pick one product. You know, we pick avocados, they pick white corn, we pick tomatoes, they pick yellow corn. All you're doing is picking on farmers, which is just not going to happen. My way of thinking, and I discussed this with the president, is country by country, macro. Let America make it more fair. We are treated horribly by the global trading environment. They all have higher tariffs, non-tariff trade barriers, and subsidies. They treat us poorly. We need to be treated better. We need to be treated with respect, and we can use tariffs to create reciprocity, fairness, and respect. The big tariff view is going to be studied, and the president launched that in an executive order where he asked the Commerce Department and the USTR to study the tariff model long term. The short term issue is illegal migration, and worse even still, fentanyl coming into this country and killing over 100,000 Americans. There's no war we could have that would kill 100,000 Americans. The president is focused on ending fentanyl coming into the country. You know that the labs in Canada are run by Mexican cartels. So,
hold on. You see how I tied that into the end here? And if you think back to the beginning of this video, the whole thing with Gitmo, and I said, I believe, I'm not in the law enforcement, I'm not in the military. I believe, having listened to these men, listened to Trump, Pete Hegseth, reading the documents, and now the Commerce Secretary says, hey, yeah, do you know who's running this stuff up in Canada? Oh, it's the cartels. The Mexican cartels are embedded in Canada. What was that order that Trump wanted? Oh, yeah, I'm going to dismantle the cartels. Don't tell me they haven't charted this out on a super war room wall somewhere. When I heard him say that, and I'm listening, and I'm fast forwarding, and I'm like, wow, this guy's impressive. What did he just say? Did he just go all the way to the cartels? I'm like, oh, I can't wait to show people this. Oh, yeah, he's great. Boom, cartels up in Canada. Bet you didn't know that is what he said to them.
This tariff model is simply to shut their borders with respect America. If we are your biggest trading partner, show us the respect, shut your border, and end fentanyl coming into this country. So it is not a tariff per se. It is an action of domestic policy. Shut your border and stop allowing fentanyl into our country, killing our people. So this is a separate tariff to create action from Mexico and action from Canada. And as far as I know, they are acting swiftly. And if they execute it, there will be no tariff. And if they don't, then there will be. But it's an action-oriented model. That's not the ordinary tariff. The ordinary tariffs need to be studied and examined, and that will start, as the EO said, in April.
So that's a separate tariff.
Correct.
After that study, what would be the timeline of that?
I think that's sort of in April. Those studies will come out in the end of March and April, and then you'll hear about those at that time. So big macro issues with tariff are being studied, but the micro issue is Canada and Mexico and the precursors from China. They need to end, and we need to protect our Americans from fentanyl. And our trading partners in Canada and Mexico, they should end it and stop disrespecting us and allowing this to come through our borders.
Well, I think we all agree on secure borders. I'm with you all the way. Being a northern border state, the ranking member on Homeland Security will want to do that.
They don't know what's coming. If you listen to these men talk and you understand the different kind of things that they say, they are telling you what's about to happen. If you just listen, hey, listen, here, over here we got a problem, and guess what? It's the same people up here. We got a problem at our southern border, it's the Mexican cartels. We got a problem at our northern border, it's the Mexican cartels. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had been infiltrated on both sides. There's no war we can fight where we'll lose 100,000 people, he just said. So they've already talked. Well, how much military intervention are we going to do this economically? So Trudeau, and how he said it, it's two different tariffs. We got one tariff, which is basically economic based. We got another tariff that's going to be used to shut down the border. And then we're going to be able to go in with military and put these people in Gitmo. They couldn't get out of that hearing fast enough. He talked, you heard it. I mean, it was so over their heads. They now realize that maybe our fights with, I can't even imagine tomorrow, they're going to come out with all the Q stuff and everything they can to try and call Kash Patel a nut job with his enemies list and everything else. They're going to say that Tulsi, she's friends with the people. All you got is insults. You can't talk on their level. When you said, everyone kept saying that Tulsi doesn't have the experience. Watch how little the questions are about experience. Watch them all be about Russia and Syria and everything else and leave people scratching their heads. With Kash Patel, same thing. They know what's coming. Here, look at this. I pulled from, of all people, Catherine Herridge. Kash Patel broke open the 2016 election FISA abuse scandal. Strategic media leaks were used by the FBI, the DOJ, to amplify collusion narrative and help secure surveillance warrants on Carter Page. This copy of the FISA abuse memo, with my notes from IG Horowitz, has aged well. Interesting. Interesting, Catherine. Kash Patel testifies tomorrow at 9:30. She released that tonight at 7 p.m. No, there's no coordination. There's nothing going on. You just happen to drop that? That the FBI and DOJ work together to leak things to the media and to abuse FISA? You just happen to just put that out? You can't be that gullible. You have to start seeing the chess moves and start seeing, and other people should be explaining this stuff to you and just, hey, I could be wrong. She could have just decided coming back from Gitmo. You saw her fly by. I'm heading back. Yeah, I just got back from Gitmo. You know what I want to do? I want to talk about Kash Patel and how the DOJ and the FBI screwed up. Not just screwed up. Coordinated things. You know what? All the stuff that you said that Kash Patel is walking around with a tinfoil hat. Well, Catherine Herridge just said it was true. And she's got receipts, documents, and she dropped it at 7 o'clock tonight. What you gonna say? I mean, it's right there. I didn't see this one. So half an hour, actually 40 minutes ago, she dropped another one. Okay, first, let's look at what Elon posted this. Unfortunately, there has been, because he's responding to what she wrote. Unfortunately, there's been weaponization of FBI background checks and making things classified, and then they redact them when they should be open to public scrutiny. Serious reform is needed. She comes back and says, when the public needed answers, the surveillance warrant for Trump campaign Carter Page was a sea of black ink. Elon is right. In what world is this considered transparency? So whatever questions these people were expecting to do tomorrow at 9:30, they're going to be up late tonight. They're going to be up late redoing this because two things are happening. One, they now know that he's coming in armed for bear, and you better be careful what questions you ask. Because when you ask the question, the man's going to get the chance to answer. And you may not want the answer. So you may keep it high and fluffy about, rainbows and unicorns and Q and everything else because you don't want him to answer the real questions. Second thing is, you don't know how much stuff she's dug up. You don't know how much stuff Matt Taibbi has dug up. You don't know how much stuff Elon has dug up. He's walking in there tomorrow with Gatling guns. They got pea shooters. And so I think what you're going to see is a circus tomorrow, because it has to be a circus, because they cannot go deep. Just think about this tomorrow. When they start talking, they're going to be like Bernie Sanders today talking about the baby's onesies. If you haven't seen that, Bernie was bitching about baby's onesies. They cannot let it get deep into the weeds. Kash Patel will eat their lunch. I'm envisioning that, one of these people on the committee says, okay, so, you said this and you said that, but you don't have any proof. I got it right here. They can't risk that. You understand? He's going to have a bunch of stuff up there. He's probably going to have an attorney or two next to him. This guy is going in to be the head of the FBI. And don't think he's not ready to do battle tomorrow with these people. So I'm predicting we're going to see a bunch of fluffy stuff about Q and, your enemies list and, you're not qualified, and because they won't be able to ask the real questions. And Catherine Herridge is dropping dimes on them right now, letting them know in no uncertain terms, it's coming. It's coming. I just got back from Gitmo and I got this stuff. So something else happened tonight, actually a couple hours ago, and it dovetails off that in my mind, because everyone has been wondering, why was Mark Zuckerberg at Mar-a-Lago? And why is he all of a sudden chumming up to Trump? Well, George, who was on last night, dropped this. Breaking, President Trump just won a massive $25 million settlement against Mark Zuckerberg for banning his accounts. $22 million of that will go to the President Trump's presidential library. The winning doesn't end. I guess I can play it.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
What's interesting is how that was worded. It said he won a settlement. You don't win settlements. You negotiate a settlement. So when I saw this, I'm like, and it's all over. Everybody pushing it out there. Mark Zuckerberg, $25 million settlement with Donald Trump. What do you think that meeting in West Palm Beach was about? Okay, so here's what we're going to do, Marky. You're going to pay for this, and you're going to give me a whole bunch of information, and I won't keep suing the pants off of you. It had to be. There's no other reason for them to agree on a $25 million settlement, meaning both parties had to agree. This is starting to get really, really, really interesting. And I don't know where it's going except for, and I'm closing up here, and so I got basically a rapid fire thing of things to show you that not related. Breaking. The National Weather Service has begun referring to the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. That probably comes in conjunction with Google and Google Maps deciding they were going to begin labeling all of their GPS with Gulf of America. You can't be on the Weather Channel or the National Weather Service talking about a hurricane coming up the Gulf of Mexico if nobody's going to be calling it the Gulf of Mexico anymore. So Trump won that battle without having to do anything, just by having a meeting and saying, I'm calling this the Gulf of America. I'm claiming it. I'm putting our flag in the Gulf of America. And the Mexican, president kind of whined about it, but oops, too late. Everybody's changing it. It's the Gulf of America. That's what it's going to be called right now. Jack Posobiec posted this, and it's funny. He said, Trump doubters are struggling right now. They're punching air. They're crystal await. Mike Pence, the Lincoln Project, all these people, they can't survive with what is happening. It's just boom, boom, boom. One thing after the other. And I'm just looking at something else they just posted, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. So at 9 o'clock, J.D. Vance was on Hannity, and I don't like watching Hannity interviews, but I'll probably cover that tomorrow and then let you guys see some of the stuff here. All right. What else here? I think we're just about... So, she warned you. She warned this people before it was time to vote. And she warned Raphael Warnock, and Warnock was stupid enough, and he comes out and he says, I'm going to be a no vote on Pete Hegseth. You sure you want to do that? Well, she came back and she said, man, do I regret ever helping you. The only reason you're in that seat is because I sent massive financial support to Shirley Sherrod's C4 to mobilize rural Georgia during the 2020 runoff. I'll be correcting that massive mistake as soon as possible. You're awful. It's on. It is on. and there's nothing they can do about it. Not a darn thing. Something just happened. We got a little bit of breaking news I want to tell you about. Ashley just sent this to me. I don't really know what exactly happened. Breaking. Plane collides with helicopter at Reagan National Airport. A small plane reportedly crashed into a helicopter while landing, resulting in fatalities. A massive rescue operation is underway in the Potomac River. So I guess they collided in air. Details are still emerging. You can't see that. It says small aircraft down in Potomac River vicinity. Fireboats in place. So whatever happened had to have happened in air, with a lot of people. It seems maybe died. It says someone says they're listening to the online scanner describing it as a mass casualty. It says a small plane collided with a helicopter while landing at Reagan, leading to fatalities. So, man, that sucks to hear. It definitely sucks to hear. All right, so the next thing I have, I like this one. I think you're going to like this one. This one should make all of you smile. And it's funny, you're going to have to read it because I can't really even say the words here. But based upon all these freezes of grants and everything else, looks like the PP people who had the blue bus at the DNC who, catering baby removal, they're about to lose $61 million. $61 million. If nothing else was worth it, the fact that they're going to lose $61 million, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I hope lose $61 million. Good for them. That's a good thing. Doge dug in and found out about this $45 million in DEI scholarships into Burma has now been officially canceled. their previous tweet from January 15th says U.S. aid spends $40 billion of taxpayer dollars to fund foreign aid, $45 million to DEI scholarships in Burma, $520 million for consultant-driven ESG investments in Africa. Remember, Biden went over to Angola at the end, or I think it was Angola at the end of his presidency, and $1.2 billion in awards to undisclosed recipients. What the hell is an undisclosed recipient? Who's getting $1.2 billion on top of the $520 million for ESG in Africa, or the $45 million DEI in Burma? It just keeps happening. It's stunning. How much of your money? Just remember when you log off tonight, you're going to wander around and think they're taking all of our money. They're laughing at us as they're taking our money and giving it to Africa and Burma. Most people couldn't point Burma out on a map. At least Africa is a big continent. Most people couldn't point out where Burma is. But that's where your money was planned to go, or they were planning to send it. We were robbed. We were screwed. We were stabbed in the back. And if Trump hadn't taken office, and if he hadn't said enough of this stuff, that's why they're screaming. Because you and I both know. You and I both know. We're not stupid. You know there's no such thing as DEI scholarships in Burma. There's probably some NGO that was set up in Burma that was getting $45 million, and who knows where that money was going to go. There's no ESG investments in Africa. You know what you want? If you want to invest in Africa, build wells. Do stuff so people can drink water. But you want to give some place in Africa $520 million for ESG? Do I look stupid? Do you look stupid? No. You know where that money was headed. Well, no, we don't know where it was headed, but we know it wasn't for ESG investments. And then the bottom, I don't even know how they even thought they were going to do that. We're going to give $1.2 billion, but we're not even going to tell you who we're giving that to. That's on a need-to-know basis, and you ain't one of these people who need to know. 1.2 billion? Yeah, $1.2 billion. It wouldn't have stopped. If Kamala had won, it would have amplified. They would have just found more ways to bankrupt America. And now they're freaking out. Now they realize somebody's looking. Most of you now are seeing things and saying, oh, I knew that we were doing some crazy stuff with Zelensky. I did know that. But now you're going to be able to share this. And you're going to be able to talk to your friends. People earlier were like, what do we do? This kind of stuff, share it. Let people know. Did you know this? Did you know that they were giving $40 billion to DEI in Burma? Don't give them any quarter. Don't let them hide anywhere. Expose it all. Put the bright light on what these people are doing to Americans. You got nothing to lose but more and more money. And now that Trump is in office, they're going to fight like hell. They're going to go to every court. They're going to do everything they can to make sure that this money keeps flowing. But, yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's happening every day. What's going on in government makes Al Capone look like small potatoes. It does. Trump has been saying it. Ghost employment, people just wait till you find that out. Wait till we find out that many of these people who are on payroll, that's the easiest grift in the world. Because we were sitting back going, yeah, I'm just going to stay home for a couple years and I still get paid. Yeah. Now look at it from the other side. How many people on the management side said, let's create fake employees? No one's ever going to know. John Smith, Kate Owens, Jackie, whatever. Make up whatever and send them checks. twice a week for 3 years, twice a month for 3 years. They all make $100,000 a year. Now they're working from home. How many of these people have the same address? Oh yeah, you know that's coming. You know the handcuffs are coming for some of these people who've created fake employees. Don't think that isn't part of this. Because at the same time I was telling you the example with the employees figuring something out, the people in management are like, wait a minute. Nobody comes in the office, and I just keep having to just send them their checks by direct deposit. Yeah. And nobody knows? And if I need more money, I can just get more money? Yeah. So I can create like 6 employees, and I'm all 6 employees, and it's Fred Cunningham, Joe Cunningham, Sheila Cunningham. Yeah. And none of them have to come in the office, so I just send them the check. Yeah. Wait till that comes out. Wait till that comes out. Ugh. They have gone mad with a... Yeah, now we know who funded the signs in Aurora, Colorado, marched a couple days ago and wanted... Oh, speaking of signs, I don't know if you saw this. You just happened to remind me. I had this up here. Protests taking place outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, where protesters with foreign flags are yelling against mass deportations. And, you know, they're all out in the street, and they're screaming because people are getting deported. And the police are in front of Trump Hotel. And they're guarding it, but they're all up and down the street protesting. All they need to do is just roll up there with a van or something. Get in. Get in. Get in. Get in. Get in. Who are you? Let me check your ID. I love that the presence from the Las Vegas police department is right out front there. But these nuts are crazy. These nuts are absolutely crazy. Simply because the man's got his name on that hotel. It just makes me sick. Another story that's probably going to make you feel good. I'll close with this one. This Mae Musk, if that name sounds familiar, it's Elon's mom. I've been receiving so much hatred because of the CNN panel with, what's her name, Cynthia Rampel yelling about Nazi salutes. Elon Musk, please sue them. Thank you, Scott Jennings, for trying to intervene with the truth. And this goes back a day or so when somebody said, hey, Elon, please sue. And this is, what's her name, Christine Rampel, Catherine Rampel, and CNN for defamation. The way they continue to drag your good name through the mud with their salute hoaxes is reprehensible. If they can get away doing it to you, they'll do it to all of us without consequences. Elon said, good idea. So we're probably about to see CNN and this woman get sued, and I hope he takes them to the cleaners. You just can't keep saying, and she wants it. She wants it for the publicity. She probably ain't got any money. But at least they'll sue to shut her up. Deport them all. They make it easy. Just disguise immigration bus into a taco stand. Oh my goodness. Somebody says they're reporting it. It was an American airline plane carrying 60 passengers. Wow. Wow. That's sad. That's absolutely sad. All right, guys, if you want to join us, I got to do hoodies too. If you want to join us over in our X group, you can go to fanfareshop.org/group. We are now, I got to change that picture. We have now hit 14,000 people. 14,000 patriots are in our X group. Love it. Oh, let me get some. 14,000. Love it. Absolutely love it. And if you'd like to register to win a hoodie, might not be too late. I'm going to give away 3 of them right now. Go to fanfareshop.org to win a hoodie. Fanfareshop.org to win a hoodie. Let me go ahead and get ready to give 3 of these away. 3 of these bad boys. It's hoodie time. It's hoodie time. All right, where's Tommy's drum roll? What number is input? Okay, so Wait 1 second. I got to make sure that this thing shows in the right place. Yeah, we got it. Got it. All right. So we're going to go over here. And then we're going to run the drum roll, please. Number 1. Ralph Martinez has won a free hoodie. Ralph Martinez. We're going to get ready, and we're going to do the drum roll again. And number 2. Y'all killing me with these one-word entries. We can't even mail it to Richard. So Richard, I get emails. Let me just say something. I get emails from people all the time. Hey, listen, I want a hoodie, but I didn't respond to Ashley. And I need to know how I. Well, I can't do nothing with Richard. So Richard, we're gonna try to look up your email address, but we're hoping we'll find it. But I can't do anything with Richard in order to ship you your hoodie, and to also get your size and everything else. So you got to help me out here, Richard and Jane, some of these people. All right, so let's go to number 3. Edward Danielski. Edward T. Danielski. Congratulations to all 3 of you. Thanks for playing. Ashley will get a hold of you. So watch for an email. There's no other way for us to get a hold of you. So we're gonna send an email to the email you put in the entry. So if you put something stupid like joespoolhall.com and you don't get it, that means you didn't get it. So hope you put the right email in, because we can't chase you down for that. Let's see here. Super chat from T Mallet. I think Barry and Trump are players. Cause infects. Biden banned drilling in Gulf of Mexico. No such thing now. You got that, huh? I wait till that was brilliant. People like, it's Gulf of Mexico. They're going to fight it, of course. Beverly Litton contributing to the spread of insanity worldwide. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Useful idiot. I'm just waiting for one of them sly questions in Cash to reply with, do you really want me to answer? That's too much. I would love for him to say it. You want me to answer that here in an open forum? They better be very, very careful. I mean, very careful. Because you may not want the answer. Beverly Litton, wonder why Catherine Herridge is dropping this info tonight to tip off the Democrat. No, she's not doing it to help them. They tried to screw her at CBS, and I'm pretty sure she's on Team Trump. And so she's dropping information that's to let people know, be careful tomorrow. To me, it's almost like a wink wink. Like the other gentleman said, be careful. Don't ask the question that we're on live television. So if you ask me, what about blah, 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 and I say, okay, boom, everybody's going to hear it. So they have to be, you'll see it tomorrow. They have to be extremely careful so that they don't give him the opportunity. In fact, many of them may just filibuster their whole 7 minutes. Oh, you did this, you did that, you did the other thing, we don't like you, and we don't want you to be the FBI director, and my time is up. Okay, that works. JD's on Fox. Yeah, I didn't have time to grab that with what we were doing tonight. Donna D, maybe that's how the I almost said the word. From scientists working from home. Good idea. I guess born on the 4th, I guess my mechanic will be fixing my car remotely. Oh, God. He was so stupid to say that. What about doctors and scientists? And Mary Boston, thank you. Oh, somebody went and looked. Wait a second. So I Am Rio went and looked and said there are 1.5 million NGOs. Wow. They're stealing our money. Stealing it. Greg Barth, if Big Pharma didn't spend so much on politicians, our drugs would be cheaper. That's true. Wait till they can't advertise. Vishu, I had second job while I had state job. Had to get permission from state of Texas to be able to do it. Hard to get, lots of questions. So they're walking into a bear trap is what you're telling me. If they've been doing something else. The ladies of Trump are so strong. Yes, they are. Robert Husbands. I don't understand how the Democrats in Congress have the nerve to show their faces to the American people. I'll give you a hint at that. Because they count on the fact that their audience ain't seeing this. You're getting more information than the people who watch CNN, ABC, all the different channels. Because they don't show it to them. They do not show them this. They're not going to tell people there's 55,000 NGOs. They're not going to tell people that 45 million was allocated for DEI in Burma. No way. That's buried. Absolutely buried. Fume trimmer. Imagine you get paid in cash and you had to go to the next table and peel off your federal tax, then the next table and pay state and local taxes. It gets old very quickly. Let me go here. Jose Bazil. Go after Soros. He's behind it all. It's possible. Thank you. David Cummings, thank you. Working for the government and working another job at the same time would be stealing company time. Imagine this. Imagine you work for the government gives you a computer, and while you're on government time, you're making TikTok videos for money, and you're editing these TikTok videos or wherever on government equipment. You don't think they could see the IPs? Oh man. Joy Kirkland, I work for the government, and you can work a second job, but you have to fill out forms and disclose it, and it can't be at the same time that you're on the clock. Thank you. So these people, if they haven't got permission, they're screwed. Beverly Litt, Newsmax Finity just ran a segment on Soros-run radio stations are reporting ICE agents are located down to the car description. Yeah, they're going to try everything like that. They will indeed try everything like that because, again, desperation. Absolute desperation. America Ramirez, $1.6 billion paid to dead people on Social Security Senate. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Truth Sleuth with the big one. Great analysis, Barry. Trump must dismantle the accreditation and licensure boards for these teachers, mental health professionals, and all medical professionals and lawyers. I agree. Couldn't agree more. Deborah said something pretty funny here. You remember when, I don't know if you saw it, but Bernie was all pissed off because they're charging $26 for the baby's onesies. What the hell does that have to do anything? Linda, I will check and get a hold of the free the Huckabee Kids Guide to see. Wait a minute. How can it sign you up for monthly $17 payments if you don't give them your credit card number? If you're getting something free, definitely don't put your credit card number in. I will check with them, but there's no way they could charge you $17 a month based upon an email. So somewhere in the transaction, you had to put your credit card in, but I will check on that and get to the bottom of it tomorrow. The GOP fume drummer, the GOP better collect its fecal matter in one place and back Trump's nominees, including Tulsi, Cash, and Pam. Let them fail on their own if that's what they're going to do. That's what they wanted to do, the secret vote. CR, I got these books. They're really nice. Carol, giving our constitutional republic back in place. America is no longer get a corporation freedom on its way back. And it's a shame because with an airplane disaster today, it gives them cover. They'll talk about that and they won't talk about the other stuff. Cajun Scully just bought stock, handcuffs, and toilet paper. It's gonna be crazy. Eric Parks, he is keeping the foot on the gas, Barry. Can you please play the beautiful clip about winning? We sure will. I will. Yeah, he's definitely keeping right on their neck. Keep it going. Keep it going. Where am I here? Karl Hassenauer per Grok, approximately 1.5 million NGOs. You guys got to find that Alex Jones video. When you find that Alex Jones video and you see that, you are going to be stunned. You will probably it's only like 10 minutes long. You'll watch it 2 or 3 times. Stephen Sterju, Democrats, senators, and congressmen get richer, Republicans get poorer, except the rhinos who get rich. Yep, you got that right. Ono Ma, major Dem hysteria starts when Bondi and Patel start investigations. You know it's coming. At this point, they have to know it's coming. Party dog, President Trump is doing a fantastic job at spring house cleaning, keeping the money away from them so they can no longer get themselves into any more mischief. That's got to be terrifying to them. Onoma, Barry, someone needs to post a running list of the outlandish spending on a website. You'll find that on Doge. So you should be able to see like what they've been uncovering over on Doge, because it's crazy. Super Maria, FYI, Pete Hegseth has been in office for 3 days? A 30,000 bed facility just doesn't pop up in 3 days. Looks like Biden was what was your question? I got cut off, but what was Biden going to be doing with that 30,000 bed facility? Good question. Beverly Litton, the TPS reminds me of what the Democrat strategist said. Biden would sign a lot of bills and orders that would stymie Trump's initiatives for months, but somehow they're moving forward. I don't know how they're going to get around this stuff. Diamond G, OMG, I'd let Christy Poem Christy, no, personally arrest me. You're so funny. Oh, man, JKC, thank you very, very much. Conservative black nation. The cartels are in the fabric of Mexico. The government, military, infrastructure, the people of Mexico are going to be collateral damage. Yeah, I believe that. I firmly believe that. Kay Thomas, my favorite news right here. Now, I just want to say something. I say it often. But what I love the fact that somebody looked up how many NGOs there were. Watch that Alex Jones video. Listen to how he outlines. Again, it wasn't Alex's video. He just played it, where this guy was like, "Here's this one. Here's this one. Here's this one," and I just sat back and just could not believe what I was hearing. And then tonight, with all these executive orders, you can go to them. You can look up each one. If you want to read it all, you can read every single thing that's out there. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Lynn Morrison, the Green Berets. There's so much stuff happening behind the scenes right now, we don't even know. Diamond G, so the capital punishment push was calculated. Yeah, I gotta believe that too. Johnny Krigner, Gitmo Bay for some Democrats. And the thing is, these people are weak. So once it starts, they're going to turn on each other. They're going to start, they're going to blab. Useful idiot. Would that go to the next page? Because I missed it. Where'd it go? Hold on. Almost there. There it is. Okay. Barry Hannibal Smith said it best. Love it when a plan comes together. I just imagine it's what tomorrow brings. And there's no weekends. Trump keeps going on the weekends. He just keeps going. Send in SEAL Team 6 to the border. Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Frost, Gitmo, drones, censorship, re-education. So much stuff was planned, and now it backfired. Jonathan Richards says, my nipples and Fifi hurt. You, sir. Oh, my goodness. I have too much fun doing this. I have way too much fun. Neo says, congrats for 14,000 plus. You belong in the White House press room. Oh, I can't wait to get in there. I can't wait. That would be so much fun. Hey, Barry, is now a good time to invest in rubber trees? Bev Litton again. Newsmax just showed the crash. It looks deliberate? Oh, no. No. Tell me it wasn't terrorist. Ooh. Oh man, don't. I'll tune it on if it looks. As I told you, we'll see if it was deliberate or not. Virginia Lamb, thank you very much. I don't know if it's. There's no way they're going to say it right now. So just watch, pay attention, see what's going on, and then protect your own. Watch your six. Keep your family safe because things are about to get crazy. All right, so 9:30 tomorrow, programming. We're going to carry the Kash Patel hearing at 9:30 tomorrow morning. I'll put the link in the group. So if you want to get the link, go into the X group. But 9:30 tomorrow. Actually, no, I'm wrong. 9 o'clock is when I'll go live. 9:30 is when the hearing starts. So 9 o'clock we go live. 9:30 is the hearing. While that's going on, we're going to tape or find a recording of the Tulsi Gabbard hearing, and then we'll do a live show with the tape of the Tulsi Gabbard hearing tomorrow night. Long day, long, crazy day tomorrow. Hope to see you there, and thanks for tuning in tonight. And if you tuned in on both shows, you're a trooper. Thank you very much.
Thank you.